Bidet critters, new and old. It was Thursday, and what a Thursday it was. My name is David. This is Mana and Maple, and I am here to help you understand what happened in episode 2 of Campaign 4 of Critical Role. Before we get into it, I want to thank everyone who commented on my last video. The discussions have been wonderful, and it's a big reason why I continue to make these videos. And thanks to the Cowboy of Science for being my 200th subscriber and knowing it. Lastly, thanks to everyone who watches small creators like myself. You guys are awesome and really the reason why people like me continue to try to make videos like this. As I go through this, if it feels like I'm jumping around a lot in perspectives, it's because I am. This episode had 13 chapters with a total of 19 individual scenes that didn't share all the people present at the table. I'm going to start off in a cold open. A much younger Loza calls for a tactical regrouping as Azune and Cadigan make saving throws. Azune has a shoulder and chest injury while Cadigan is bleeding out from multiple punctures. Two sorcerers from the Sundered Houses drop through the cloud cover, one of them casting what appears to be a fireball. Hayor shouts for everyone to get down as everyone rolls initiative. This is a battlefield, and in this distant memory, everyone is level 1. Hayor is up first since he's Norma, their dwarven medic. Heal another comrade.
Over your shoulder, you see a dwarven woman. You see she's got a thick braided beard, an empty upper lip, a thick braided beard. You see that she leans down, reaches into a satchel, takes out a small dwarven poultice, crushes it in her hand. A red mist surrounds her as she punches into the empty hole created by a spell in your comrade Lucia's chest. She's got an open cavity, ribs exposed, punches into it and says, "Oh, this broken can be mended. Come on, girl, you're not done fighting yet." It rips her fist out and leaves a bunch of the flesh from her own fist, stitching up Lucia's body as your dwarven medic gets her up on her feet.
We see Thimble and Thiazi running down the hill while Taylor runs over and stabilizes Cadigan. This is chaos. Thimble and Thiazi run over the top of a hill as a sorcerer of House Cormoré summons a dragon at the feet of Loza, who thunks an axe into the side of its head. So badass. Thiazi splits into multiple copies of himself and charges forward as Thimble attacks the sorcerer of Cormoré, dealing enough damage to force him to drop concentration on Dragon as a barrage hits Thiazi, downing him. Loza calls for a retreat, and a darkened shape darts out of the shadows, grabs Thiazi, and brings him into the trenches. Casimir says he has Thiazi, and they can keep going. These cold opens are so interesting. Action, adventure, and lore from the past, and I want to see more of them. We are back in the present as Hal and Taisha look at the silver box that she and Octus brought into the city. As black ceramic shards begin to shake together, Taisha touches one, fails a con save, and drops to the ground as her consciousness leaves her body. Hal rushes over, casts Healing Word on her, and in a reverberating voice commands her to stay. As he looks into her eyes, they are just full of, instead of like the red and black pupils, it's just swirling mist. Bayless, Belair, Murray, and Shadia head upstairs. Sir Julian plays it safe. How valorous. Belair learns that the box is actually connected to the lore of halflings in the afterlife. The box is actually a coffin for a halfling and is artifact level magical. As the mist leaves her eyes, Taisha looks up at Valis and hears the call of the nightingale. Bayless Insight checks the family. Hal Insight checks the room. Shadia is mad at her mother, and we learn this is a common occurrence. Hal knows Belair knows something and knows Bayless isn't going to harm his family. Murray closes the box and the room raises as Belair rightfully crashes out.
I touched the wrong thing many years ago and have had this thing stuck to me ever since. Half the people at the museum have been maimed touching the wrong thing. Whatever else shows up tonight, do not touch it if you don't know where it came from.
Sir Julian arrives, raising the tension even more if possible. He helps Taisha up as Belair and Murray take the coffin out to Belair's waiting carriage, and Murray and Belair head off to the Loy Wing, the Arcanade, which sits across the river in Lugzash. Sir Julian and Lady Ernessa head to the Davanos estate to meet General Juan, Sir Julian's father. Julian is not happy to hear that. At the end of the funeral, we have a very touching moment between Hero and Hal, who take out their lyres and play the song Broken Wing, harmonizing with each other effortlessly in a practice sort of way. And this, even though Liam isn't bringing musicality to the bard like Sam did or like Robbie did, this really in-depth, very descriptive storytelling, I think, will be his unique bardic path in this game, and I love to see it. Thimble, Cadigan, Octus, Teor, and Azune join the funeral, and Laura Bailey makes me cry again.
Thimble, you see Thiazi for the first time.
No. And I'll fly over and land on his chest. You stupid fuck. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Daz, I ruined it. And I'll walk up his chest and place my hand on his chin. What am I gonna do without you? I'm so sorry, Hal.
I'm a big old softie, and I cry at the drop of a hat, but there's just something about Laura's ability to act about the death of a friend that just hits me right in the heart. Thimble accuses Valus of bringing the men that broke into the safe house, and then Thimble notices Thiazi's wedding ring, and we are brought back to the moment where Thiazi is gifted Thimble, which is a tradition of the Royce family, who is historically protected by the Fae.
Hal, you're standing nearby, and you just remember being in a tiny little tower room of Castle Royce. Two young guys, orcish commoners from Dol Makyar, in this noble's wedding, and your brother dressed in gifted finery, looking at you and being like, nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous. This is, I can't, none of this fits. I'm getting a noble's coat on loan from these people, my fiance's family. And a knock at the door, and her hand over her face, the lady Aranessa, going, I'm not looking. Your brother looking, saying, I can't see you. I can still see you right now if you cover your eyes. And she's like, I don't know how it works. I've never been married before. Holding this gorgeous flower that looks like it's either foxglove or prickle poppy. This gorgeous flower. And she says, in our tradition, I'm supposed to, it's for you. It's a wedding gift. You should have it before the ceremony. And the flower opens. Oh. And with that ring on a little table beside Thimble for the very first time in the mortal world, looking much different than she does today, appeared in that moment as Thiazi looks down at you and goes, Hi.
Oh, hi.
Sorry, the fairy's a gift? I don't agree with any of this.
I think it's kind of weird myself, but...
Do you want to be a gift? You don't have to be a gift if you don't want to be a gift.
Just shut up and say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to you, frankly. I don't know. You see that? And Ernesta says, of course, it's not like that. It's just, she's free. If you wish, then you, marrying into the family, have the protection of the Fae. And as our family has enjoyed, Thimble is a warrior fairy from the gardens.
I can kill a bunch of mice in your house. Also, I'm really good at braiding hair.
See, Thiazi goes, is that related? Are those skills from one and the same? No, you know what? Now, here's what we really need to do. We need to catch a bunch of mice, braid their hair, keep everybody here on their toes.
We can do that.
We can do anything.
I look up at Lady Arnessa. I think I'm really like it here. I'm gonna really like him. And I'll fly over and land on his shoulder.
He lands on your shoulder and says, "Are they giving you a little outfit too?"
I don't like this stupid dress, so if we can get something different, I'd be thrilled.
We'll go to a dollhouse upstairs and see what they got.
It's cute. It's very interesting, and we see how a friendship is born quickly amongst two personalities who just vibe with each other. Azune begins to look for the thing he sensed in episode 1 and tells Thimble he lied to her to make her feel better. They find a small ceramic piece that has been laced with the illusion of illusion and conjuration. Octus makes an Arcana check and understands that this is very well made. It's a forgery. They figure out that someone betrayed them, possibly Sid and Casimir. And Azune tells us that Casimir was a member of the Crow Keeper. Aisha tries to talk to Wulfric, casting Speak with Animals, and is warned from Brennan that the bond between Cadigan and Wulfric would be the second most powerful magical effect she tried to tamper and touch. Sid is described by Loza and Peor to be a questionable guy who was kicked out of the Torn Banner for stealing relics and objects and wearing them, things that he shouldn't have had from battlefields. But Thiazi was the one who brought him into the fold of what was happening. Azune says he will check in on the Revolutionary Guard, Thimble will check in on the Thieves Guild, and Loza lets Teor know that he set up a meeting for him with Wykander. Thimble and Valus have an argument, while Loza diffuses it with some words of wisdom about what lost items might mean to Thimble. Valus apologizes to Thimble and meets Pin, who Octus had sent up to have eyes on the conversation.
Anyway, I know you were there when the stone was taken, but I also know you were a gift, and you probably didn't have a choice.
Oh, I have free will.
You do?
Yeah, what do you think? And I fly up. You're an elf.
Yes.
You know our history.
I do.
Better than me, probably. Thiazi was great. He didn't keep me. He was my partner. We were equals. Can you believe that? Equals. I'm sorry I took your stone. I'm sorry it's lost.
It's fine. I will find it again.
What do you even need it? I don't fucking care.
That'll be the third time I cry this episode, and aside from watching it multiple times, it's not the last. The overture has been really hard on me and my ability to keep my eyes dry and my nose unstuffed. Downstairs, Loza says she is retiring and heading to Dolringa, a lush city to the west. We learn that the Loy family has built the weapons that killed the god of war. That's wild, and no wonder Aisha has so much standing in this world. Loza and Tior leave, and she hands Tior a scroll case which contains the tattered remains of the Torn Banner, which Teor takes out of reverence, knowing that he may need to fly it again.
Here, let's head to the inn. We'll head on out. I think as you step out, Teor, she reaches into a sort of interior lining as she's walking with you and says, I'll head out before you wake tomorrow. I'll get out before first light. And hands a small scroll case to you. You've seen it amongst her effects for a long time, but she passes it to you. It's been 12 years since we had to disband as a condition of our, what do they call it, amnesty or clemency. So we disbanded. but I could never get rid of it. And you see she opens it up, and you see tattered and threadbare half of a banner.
This... You've had this on your person this entire time. Who would you like me to make sure this gets to?
I'm looking at him.
Cadigan laughs and just claps Tear on the back and makes his way toward the Ozzy's coffin while they finish their conversation.
I don't know that it'll ever fly again. But I know of everyone who would know if the time ever came. There are things, gifts of yours, Teor, that you have that I know I can't explain, and I bet you can't either. Just hold on to it. And you see she looks over at all of the treasures around Thiazi's body. Some things have to go into the shadow, and some things are so important that even in darkness they can't be thrown away.
Thank you for everything.
Hal makes Valus take some pastries and threatens her on the way out. She perches outside the home and watches like a gargoyle. There's a complete table change, and Sam and Whitney join the table as everyone else except for Travis leaves. In the neighborhood of Losgash, we find the Via Aurora, a white stone palatial estate with a gleaming tower that resembles the Candescent Creed icon. In Versailles-like halls, we find Tyranny walking to the front gate. She is joined by her sister Enmity and Cruelty. Cruelty is a cherry bomb of a tiefling. This is such a tense family. Agony, who is a monkish klutz, joins them, and they all seem to know something that Wikander doesn't. Like he's being left out of a loop.
And he is still as devout as ever. He believes in light.
Yeah, he believes.
How fun. You think that's fun, don't you? I mean, he's supposed to be the face of the house. So, I mean, it's sort of lovely in a way that he holds true to those tenets of the whispered light.
Yeah, I think that it is... I think it's really fun that he believes in something. I think that he... Well, I know he's the only one, so... I don't want to touch it.
Are you nervous about...
No?
You see, Enmity says, "You feel as though your very essence shudders at the approach of some catastrophe."
Listen, man, I just think that we're here to help and think that your guys are like a little bit more cut out for this kind of thing than Wick is, and I don't...
Help? Who? Tyranny? Who do you imagine I'm here to help? You see, Cruelty says, "Yeah, the mortal world is so much more confusing than the pit. It's just important to keep perspective, don't you think?"
Yeah, I have perspective. Here to help the family and get them to where they are supposed to be.
You see, Cruelty says, "Great. Glad we're on the same page."
Tyranny meets Teor, who she leaves in the courtyard to go get Wick. Wick is a mess. His clothes on backwards, he hasn't slept much, In the courtyard, a large shipment comes up the drive, and as it is overburdened and not strapped down correctly, drops a crate on a worker, breaks his leg, and leaks a white caustic liquid that burns him all over him. Taor uses lay on hands, his lion medallion at his hip glowing as he does so. Everyone who sees it is amazed as Taor heals the man. Wick is blown away, amazed that Taor can touch the light without knowing it. I just want to say Travis as a social manipulator wasn't on my bingo card, and I'm glad it's there, and I will take the win because this is fun to watch. I mean, Taor is legitimately manipulating Wick's feelings and emotions, his perception, and it's great to watch a paladin have such control over social situations for a while. They head into Wick's study, and we learn that Taor uses a shield and a flail, and not claws. And that's okay. It's still cool. It's still real cool. Wick is playing his low wisdom score so well and does not realize that Taor is just feeding his ego. There is a knock at the door, and the Photarch, Yanessa, who is a shrewd lady who code switches like a pro, comes in, and she sees through Taor and his really hollow words. She sends Taor to grab some food and then tells Wick to get rid of the rug, stating that he is an enemy of their household. We learn that Halibor was a priest house in the Oberdemian Empire whose homeland was cast into eternal night at the death of the god of the sun. Wick is told to make no plans for the evening, and Yanessa says she made a huge mistake. This is interesting and kind of feeds into some theories that I had last week. We do another table change, and we find Murray and Bolaire in the neighborhood of Lugthash at the Arcanaut, which is a museum of magical items and artifacts. Bolaire runs the Loy Wing and has a pariah blade that was used to kill Asgra, the god of war. Murray and Bolaire have been up all night. We learn that the coffin is new, but the plates are old and have a combination of celestial and ancient halfling written on them, signifying that it is the coffin of Obalad, the sister of Mist, with a halfling angel of death. We learn that the Fae and demons were older than the gods, and that the gods actually may have defeated an ancient race of giants. That feels very familiar. Celestials, however, arrived when the gods did. When the gods died, the Celestials went feral and would spell certain doom for the regions that they were found in. So we learn that this is a possibly very dangerous object or artifact. Because if this is the coffin of a Celestial and Celestials are feral, crazy things, this could be very powerful and very damaging to society. Bolaire uses a tool to find the bottom of the coffin and finds no bottom. He drops it down and it falls into a void. And we have two of my favorite quotes of the night. One from Murray.
I'll be a shaper's anus.
And one from Bolaire.
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few puppies, I suppose.
Thiazi would send Bolaire questionable objects, and Bolaire would research and identify them. As Murray heads off to her job at the Pentaveral, Bolaire heads deeper in towards darker vaults and discovers the paint that Thiazi mentioned to Hal. During this entire thing, Bolaire also sends his consciousness into a black box, which has something in it that is deteriorating. And I want to know what's in the box. What's in the box? We cut to a contingent of guards escorting a carriage, and General Raimond stops in front of the Tangled Sheet, which is a brothel, hollering for his son. Inside, Julian untangles himself from his companions, tries to sober himself, fails, and heads out to meet his father, who chastises him for being essentially a Nepo baby and a trust fund kid. They exchange some terse words, and we learn that Raimond and Thiazi were good friends. Raimond wishes for his son, Julian, to grow up and find honor. This interaction really highlights the fact that Raimond, Julian's father, probably joined Thiazi in the Falconers Rebellion or stayed out of the fight completely. And that's interesting. Real interesting. Makes Julian a very complicated character. They walk inside and meet Lady Aranessa, who is panicked because the resupply caverns have been stopped on the far side of the Dvalmar Pass, and she has a gala tonight, which feels very. Oh, I'm not going to get into it. I have a theory video coming out on Monday where I'm going to talk about a bunch of this stuff and how I think that the plot lines are going, but now is not the time for that. We also learned that Taconis is in town searching for their lost son. That be. We just feel this great family dynamic from Julian, and great. It's not great. It's really, really traumatic, and I don't know. It makes me wonder what else Julian's got for trauma in his backstory. In the woods outside Dalmakyar, we find Cadigan and Wulfric. In the haze of the alcohol, he focuses on Thimble and using Thieves' Camp, which is really rad, instructs Wulfric to find Thimble, and they tear off towards the city. Azune is gearing up for the day and walks down through Brethren Hall. He notices offices and branches that are down their luck or have reduced funding, and goes to the office of his commander, Adrian Fazir, and finds Sir Herondus Einfausen talking. They talk about moving funds around and privatizing parts of the Revolutionary Guard. Azune rolls a natural 20 on insight and understands in that moment that Herondus Einfausen is evil. He's evil and is trying to get more power than he already has. After the meeting, Azune goes to the patrol board and inserts himself into the patrol through Caravan Hill, where the Crow Keepers work. Murray is walking through the courtyard of the Pentaveral, a college whose symbol is a 5-sided star. A grad student runs past, gallant, telling her that Headmaster Tallbarrel has been sacked. Murray rushes to the headmaster's office where a massive desk sits, with another smaller desk on top. Headmaster Tallbarrel, a halfling dean, has been edged out by blackmail, essentially. The Chamber of Lords passed a law through the Revolutionary Council to make arcane practice illegal on the grounds of the school unless he resigned. That is truly evil use of government and feels familiar. There's a darkening at the doorway, and in walks another dwarf with platinum hair who introduces Lord Primus Taconis, a gaunt, grave, sallow-skinned man who wants to know where his son is. We cut back to the Fang family household and see Thimble asleep on Thiazi's chest. She overnight had braided his hair and sprinkled pixie dust around him, giving him a glowing effect. Hal has barely slept while Octus and Taisha slept in Taisha's old office, but not as a couple. They're traveling companions. Hal and Taisha have a heart-to-heart at the top of the home, and Thimble promises to make this whole thing right. Cadigan and Wulfric break in through the window at Hal's house, ignoring the door. Hal brings Cadigan a shepherd's pie and a beer, which Cadigan and Wulfric devour. I mean, the shepherd's pie. We don't feed beer to the dog. Taisha moves off to get more food, and then food for Octus because he's also come down. Thimble invites Cadigan to go find Crow Keepers, and Cat walks over to the body and casts Spare the Dying just to be sure.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna walk up to him, and I'm gonna look at him, and as he's resting and dead, I think Cadigan's seen a lot of death in all of its forms. And when you see a person lying in repose, they have a resting face, and Thiazi's to me looks mischievous still, as I remember him in my youth. And then, while nobody's looking, just out of curiosity, I'm gonna say, sure. I'll grab a little pinch and a little flick to where no one can see it, and I just want to cast really quick, just to check. Spare the Dying.
Hal and Thimble have a beautiful aside.
Be careful.
I'm always careful.
Are you though? Listen, I know I'm not my brother, and I'm no replacement for my brother, but I know how much you meant to each other, and as far as I'm concerned, your family. So if you ever need somewhere to go, it's here. And, I was able to talk to him at the end.
Are you bullshitting me? Because Azune said the same shit. And then he said he was lying, so.
I'm not bullshitting.
What'd he say?
He said to tell you not to be afraid. And I didn't need him to tell me that he thought the world of you. And therefore, so do I.
He was always so stupid.
Yes, he was.
I'm never afraid.
We do another change of the table, and we find Thimble, Cadigan, and Octus at the tavern. Thimble starts asking about Casimir and gets let in to meet a man named Solomon, who Thimble knows. Things go bad, initiative is called, and we switch tables again. That's a cliffhanger, and I can guarantee that we're going to start with that fight beginning of next episode or somewhere near the beginning of next episode. Wick and Tierney are at the end of their day, and a knock comes to the door of his study. Goddard and Enmity gather them, and they head toward the basement, where great workings of the prismatic retort happen. Wick explains that the prismatic retort is how the family distills the light of the universe into liquid filament. They move through a door that contains the ancient ruins of the Oberdenian Empire. On the other side, a beam of light hits them, and two massive dogs with golden plates for eyes bark at them. And when they bark, they cast Dispel Magic. So interesting. The Fortar greets them after another set of doors, and they behold an enormous stone coffagus that has these filament-like fibrous tubes coming out of them. As Goddard tightens the filaments, his hands smoking slightly, Yanessa tells Wick that she loves him.
Yanessa looks at you and says, Wickander, there's no two ways about it. The love I hold for you is as true as the foundations of the earth. And I need you to know that, because that love is true. However, some of the things I have told you in your life have not been true. And so, I suspect that there may be some points where you feel rattled, unsure, your legs taken out from under you. And you see a tiny, papery old hand touches your cheek. So the thing I need you to hold on to when everything else goes away is I love you.
And then Goddard removes the blindfold, and with eyes that shine from his eyes, opens the prismatic retort.
You look up, and as your eyes adjust, you see your father kneeling, reasserting and refixing the blindfold on his face. As the retort opens, gleaming light. This is not a sarcophagus. It's an Iron Maiden. And within it is a 30-foot tall angel chained with taps like that removes the sap from maple trees, gushing blood out as the angel, chained with its head against the inner workings, its featherless wings spread out and splayed against the inside of the machine, roars out like a screaming titan as rows and rows of unpointed teeth within its mouth gnash furiously. It blasts forth bilious, gleaming blood over its shining body. Claws and feet reaching forward against the chains. Yanessa turns to you. Wiki, I'd like you to meet your grandfather.
What a finish. Holy shit. This has been a great episode, and I want to see more. I have a video coming out on Monday where I'm going to talk about theories about everything that was in this video, and then I'm going to update my lore video on Wednesday. So Thanks for listening. I really enjoyed making this. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I can't wait for Thursday. I know.